Welcome everybody to this, our second match of the first day of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships. A battle for the ages in the open division between COG from Canterbury and Valley Cats from Lower Hutt. My name is Blair Munro.
My name is Brooke McAlevey.
And we are your eyes and the ears on the ground at Ngā Puna Wai Sports Hub in beautiful Christchurch. A little bit of variety in our hooter, typically just a large air horn, and now we've got the vocal stylings of our tournament director. What are our conditions looking like at the moment, Brooke?
It is quite windy. We've got a 14-kilometre an hour breeze coming from the east, so the easterlies coming in. However, it is sunny and 17 degrees, so hopefully that wind will die down and we can just stick with nice conditions.
Perfect. And in our previous match, we had Zodiac from Auckland facing off against the Spring Chickens, comprised largely of Masters players, so a lot of experience there. Valley Cats first up. We've got Nick Bealby, Linford Hall, Zaslow, Beetham, Titov Smith, McQueen, Doyle, Foster, Swanson, Cider, Irwin, Kajentharan, Karnasuta, Vessels, Brown, Curtis, Horan, and Sivasith.
And for our COG team, we've got Milne, McIntosh, Udderidge, two of them, Max and Charlie, Chase, Cooper, Goldbeak, Cartier, Douglas, McFarlane, Silverbow, Dixon, Vanderpill, Conabia, Moore, and Hall.
Perfect. So the first pull of the game goes up. It looks like we will have COG coming out on offense first. So COG, Credo Open Green, playing in the dark uniforms. The Valley Cats playing in the light. Some great disc movement up the field. Seeing a person defense, match defense from the Valley Cats. Not giving COG too much trouble, but a high shot goes over the top, intercepted. Quick turn of a long shot goes, a lot of edge on the blade, but a lot of float, grabbed and kept alive. Beautiful turn there. Fantastic way to start off our Valley Cats offense. Ryan Sheridan in that handler space for the Valley Cats. Supported by Jack Doyle. There it is. Great disc movement there. And wonderful continuation. Sheridan putting in some great work there for the Valley Cats. And comfortable finish, but a pick has been called. So just a reminder that Ultimate, as a non-contact sport, there is the risk of pursuit interference if a defender feels as though that they were inhibited from following their player because of the positioning of another player. Then they're given the opportunity to catch up to where that player, where they reasonably should have been, at which point play resumes. So Jack Doyle again. Threads one through, great layout bid, but it comes off the one hand. A turnover giving COG an opportunity to work back upfield.
Definitely has the right idea going low though with the wind. Those high passes are just going to get picked up.
Now the conditions are a little bit calmer than in our previous game where we had Spring Chickens facing off against Zodiac. We had Spring Chickens see a lot of zone defense, which generated a lot of turns and took them to a convincing win over the Auckland side. Great run through D there by Valley Cats, giving them another opportunity about the three-quarter mark, maybe a little bit closer to halfway than that. Fantastic opportunity for them. We've seen they're able to move the disc in this wind. But it is also a little bit warmer as well, so our hope for the rest of the day is that as it warms up, the wind will settle down. We'll be able to see some really high-class long games, which are currently being denied to us in favor of some more tactical Ultimate. Great pressure by the defense, but there looks to have been a collision. No call was made. We'll see that again. Sheridan puts one up. A little bit of wobble, fades back towards us. That might have hit him below the belt. Take a breather, son. Walk it off. COG with some nice early disc movement. Once again, those high shots, but a call was made. Signals for a stoppage. Now, it is important to recognise that an individual is entitled to the head space, the space above their head when they go up. And so a player targeting that space in pursuit of the disc would constitute a foul. So it looks like there's an uncontested foul. Oh, sorry, I take that back. The foul looks to have been retracted, so Hutt Valley Cats rather will take possession. Ryan Sheridan, Doyle, targeting that near sideline now. Great disc movement there by Valley Cats for the first score of the game, putting them 1 up over Cog.
That wind slightly picking up now.
Kana suitor for the grab as Valley Cats come down on defense. A long first point to start off that game. We saw quite a few turnovers there. So we have 90 minutes on our cap. You can see we're down to 83.5 minutes remaining for our game. Currently a race to 15. The first team to score 15 points will take it away today at the second game of our New Zealand Ultimate Championships in 2021. Big pull by the Valley Cats. The wind pushing it down. Milne and McFarlane to initiate. Great pressure by Valley Cats, but not enough. Tries to send a laser up that near sideline, but it turns over early. Great territorial throw, though, by Cog. Valley Cats with a long field ahead of them to march it back and get the score. Great long cut opening up. No coverage at all by Cog defense. Great move there by Valley Cats. And jumped and towed in for the score. We'll see that again. Great cut moving through, no coverage. Manages to pull that one down. Cider for the second point on the board for our Hutt Valley Cats. 2 up over Cog. A great start to the game for them. Just taking the time to talk through what their defensive plans are for this third point of the game. Valley Cats establishing some early momentum, Brooke.
They are.
Cog a little on the back foot, but still a close game. Only 2 points in it so far. We're nearly 10 minutes in. We've seen points be made and broken in this wind, backwards and forwards previously, in this and previous tournaments. Tom Curtis with the pull for Valley Cats. Cog with some initial early disc movement. Again, Milne and McFarlane. Great positioning there to work around the defense. Some tight pressure from Hutt Valley. A little bit of miscommunication. Two players running through into space being targeted for that reset. Neither of them take it. Valley Cats 15 meters at most out from their end zone. Great opportunity for them to score. But a missed connection there gives possession back to Cog. So much pressure on that reset. Not able to get it away. Great defense by Hutt Valley forcing that turn there. Big high angle forehand that just bites into the ground. Not a lot of territory gained there either. Takes to a knee to keep possession.
Cog putting some pressure on Valley Cats.
T-Tov Smith with a great vertical grab. Tries for a scuba by the looks of things. Blocked out by Cog. Having to wind up, wants to send something big, wants to get a bit of yardage there. Great defensive positioning by Valley Cats. Quick initiation to try and start their offense again. Curtis. Great moves, playing the disc low in the wind. Again, the moment we see that disc lift off the ground even slightly above the heads of the players, the wind starts to get involved. Not so much a problem playing downwind. Sends a laser beam. Comfortably walked in at the zone for Valley Cats as they go up 3 over Cog. Great clinical disc movement from the Valley Cats that we're seeing here. Back-to-back breaks. Some great defense. And then those quick turns on offense, making that mental switch between the two different play styles to maximize their efficiency on the field. Slowly getting away from Cog, 1 point at a time. Cog desperate to put something on the board of their own. It's the ultimate championships of New Zealand in the open division. We've had the secondary schools national championships. Quite a lot of familiar faces, particularly from this Cog side that we saw playing for Shirley Boys High School. Some fantastic performances by them on the days. But now it's the open division. Players with a lot more experience, a lot more familiarity with the disc. It's going to be important for Cog to show up and show that they can compete at that same level. Coach Fernando leaving the field. Just some last-minute advice for the boys before they start off this 4th point of the game. An opportunity now for an offensive hold for them, bringing it back to within 2 points, exactly what they're looking for. But first they have to see if they are able to walk through the Valley Cats of the shadow of death. Great pull there, huge amount of roll, carries it out the back of the end zone. So it can be brought up to the front of the end zone to initiate offense now. Couple of cheeky smiles. And what we're seeing here is a horizontal stack. So 3 players back in that disc space to handle, and then 4 cutters downfield, looking to maximize the amount of space towards the disc and away from the disc, as opposed to we've seen vertical stack quite a lot so far, which utilizes throwing and running channels on either sideline. Almost like magnets, Titoff Smith finds the disc. Quick turn. Valley Cats with a great opportunity, so close to the end zone. Fantastic scoring position for them. Throwing out into space for a great grab. We're going to see that again. Titoff Smith. Every other touch on the disc. Great positioning. A fake to open something up in the end zone. Sees something developing. Puts the disc out into space for Vessels for a great score. Valley Cats up by another 1, bringing the score to 4-0. So a timeout's been called. Teams just taking a few moments for themselves to make sure they're rehydrated, to talk through any strategies, any changes they feel are necessary to the play.
What are you thinking, Cog, are discussing right now, now that they're 4 points down from
Well, that's always a tough position to be in, to start off the game and have your offense broken repeatedly. It could be quite tiring because typically you're going to split your Frisbee lines into all offensive players and defensive players. And your offense goes out, they concede a point after getting beaten by the opposition defense. They then often have to go back out and play offense again.
Yeah,
it can be quite disheartening. And it can really disrupt your rhythm as well, especially when you feel you're playing good ultimate, but you're still turning the disc over and you're seeing your opposition play that much smoother and more controlled. So I think it might just be largely a mental check just to remind them why they're here, that they got here. They've had a lot of tournaments, they've had a lot of practices, they've worked together in pursuit of a common goal. And I think it's just a case of that, just reminding themselves that they do know how to play Frisbee, they know how to make those connections. They just need to tighten up a few things to really start pushing the Valley Cats back in the other direction. So Valley Cats first to break the huddle, 7 on the line already. Cog probably using that timeout a little bit more, maybe had a little bit more to discuss. The Valley Cats, after a timeout like that, yay, we're 4 points up.
Yeah.
Not really that much more to say when you're in a great position like that. Probably just a mention that, you know, just because we're 4 ahead doesn't mean we can stop. Don't take the pressure off. I think one of the worst things you can do when you're a strong team like we're seeing the Valley Cats put on today is not pushing your opposition even when you're up.
Yeah.
Once you let that pressure off, we've seen comebacks, we see them all the time. Our disc is catchable until it hits the ground. If you are on defense and you are not hounding down every disc that comes near you, you're giving your opposition a great chance to score. So we're going to see the pull go up now. A lot of flow. Very nice pull. We're seeing the Valley Cats play more of a zone-looking defense. So there's a lot of players crowding the disc, but Cog able to chip over the top anyway. Resets to McFarlane. Not quite pinned down on that sideline, getting a huge bite trying to get that reset. Nice high forehand. Tipped off Valley Cat fingers. That's just great defensive positioning, great read there. So we'll see that again. There's an option, but just good positioning there by Bryn Douglas. Sorry, Robert Irwin, rather. Great reset there to get the disc off that far sideline where the wind seems to be pushing. So just a reminder, the wind is kind of moving from the near side of the sideline, the near sideline at the bottom of your screen, to the far side. Titoff Smith sends a bomb. A lot of float, a lot of defensive coverage. Goes for the bid, it's not enough. It is good. That is a great additional point there for the Valley Cats.
I think it's definitely clear to see that the Valley Cats are utilising the wind rather than it being another offender for them.
Absolutely, so could just be a function as well. From the Hutt Valley, there's a lot of wind there anyway, so a lot of the practice that they are doing is going to be in conditions similar to this. There's kind of a saying in New Zealand Ultimate, is that it's only windy once a Wellington player says it's windy. And so the Hutt Valley, having spent a lot of time in that environment, a lot of practice in those windy conditions, it's probably less of a learning curve for them. They're adapting to it a little bit quicker. Shirley boys from Canterbury, maybe a little bit harder. It still does pick up a little bit of wind, as we're sort of seeing here. Starting to whistle just a little bit as we enter the 21st minute of the game. Cog one more time to come out on defense. So the signal's given by the Valley Cats side, returned now by Cog. The wind's starting to pick up on this. Very, very high pull. A little bit of roll, but not a huge amount. McFarlane in that handler space for Cog, looking to initiate something as they move downfield. Great bid to keep that one alive. Some fantastic effort there. Almost gratuitous layouts. Zone defense from the Valley Cats applying a lot of pressure. We're seeing Ryan Sheridan on the mark, number 11. Great player. Coached the Hutt Valley High boys team at Secondary School Nationals. Great movement by Cog. They're working their disc up the field comfortably this time. Maybe they've settled into their rhythm a little bit. Threading through that zone. Great disc movement here. Just little passes, trying to keep that reset low. Remember that in the sport of ultimate frisbee, a player in possession of the disc can only have it for about 10 seconds. That's exactly what the Valley Cats were looking for, applying that pressure, trying to force those high options that, as you pointed out, Brooke, aren't working so well in the wind. Great pressure on that reset, generating a turn for Cog. They have an opportunity at most 10 meters out from their own zone. Seeing that space in the end zone, looking to fit a disc into it. Just a little bit overthrown there, trying to compensate for the wind, trying to put it out into space, away from the defender to really give your offensive receiver the best opportunity of pulling that disc down. Great movement on that handler reset. Clear separation. In power position, sends a huck up long. And ran in. Valley Cats not even having to leave the feet. We'll see that again. Great shot there. Fantastic assist by Sheridan.
Foster.
Will Foster with a great grab there. 6 points now for the Valley Cats over Cog. 25 minutes into our soft cap. Some really clinical ultimate on display, particularly by Valley Cats, but it's hard to ignore the change in playstyle that we just saw from Cog. The success, the ease with which they work the disc up the field. Just seems like there's a little bit of that same end zone fever that we've talked about previously, just getting close to scoring and sort of maybe putting more pressure on yourself than you need to, instead of focusing on making those completed passes. Run through D, nearly a Callahan, great turn. But a travel was called. So it looks like that as that interception was made, the player dragged his feet. So once again, just a little bit of a rules clarification. So that will be scored as a point. With regards to movement, when a player has the disc, players cannot run when they are in possession of the disc. So they are allowed to establish a single pivot point around which they are able to move. But if a player lifts their pivot point off the ground, it constitutes a travel, which is a throwing infraction. Okay. Now, a player is able to throw within motion within, I think, 3 contacts of the ground after having received the disc, during which time they don't need to slow down as long as they release the disc before that 3rd point of contact. So that's a recent rules change, but it allows for a lot more flow-based, motion-based offense that we've seen used really, really well, particularly by Valley Cats, but also Credo, the COG group rather, to a slightly lesser extent, which is less a function of their offensive ability and more a function of the huge amount of pressure that we're seeing from the Valley Cats, generating those turns, scoring those points, bringing the disc back downfield. Cog giving the signal for readiness, waiting for the response from Valley Cats. It's given. The pull's about to come in. A lot of edge. It's going to touch down and roll. Once again, great pull, carrying it out the back of the end zone. Giving that Valley team a great opportunity to set up their defense. We've seen them use a zone. We know that the wind is high. We've seen that COG maybe aren't as good as adapting to the wind as the Valley Cats have been. So Valley Cats know that that zone's going to force some lower percentage options, that the wind is really going to help generate those turns. Excellent disc movement on display by COG here. Cartier with the disc. Pressure by that zone generating that turn. About 8 meters away from the end zone. Nice reset work by Valley as they bring the disc around to that near sideline. Try and swing it back the other way. Forcing the defense to be out of position. If the defense is out of position, the defense cannot do its job. Pressure from COG, still able to force the disc back. Right on the doorstep. Great score. Little bit on the messy side. Players all in cramped quarters.
That now puts Valley Cats at 8 and COG's still at 0.
So that looks to be the end of our first half. Valley Cats with a great series of consecutive breaks. The game's still not over as we race to 15. COG with a very long second half ahead of them, particularly if they want to put themselves on the board, doubly so if they want to win the game. But that concludes the first half of our second game on day 1 of the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. My name is Blair Munro.
My name is Britt McAlavey.
And we will be back with you shortly.
Right, we are back with the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships second match. Okay, we are back with the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. This is day one, the second match. I'm Brett McAlavey.
My name is Blair Munro.
And we have the Valley Cats versus Cogs.
The score currently 8-0 in favour of Valley Cats, having taken half after a series of breaks. Back-to-back defence, great defensive pressure from the Hutt Valley, less affected by the wind than Cogs seemed to be. And so we're going to come into the second half. Valley Cats to come out on offense. Cog with the disc for the first pull of the second half. Great performance by Valley Cats so far. The psychological advantage of taking half, of putting away those first 8 points, and then getting to come out on offense as well, not having to fight for the disc before you get possession of it. So how do you feel about the first half of the game so far, Brooke?
I definitely think Valley Cats, it's clear to see that they are used to these windy conditions, and I think that definitely puts Cogs at a disadvantage with that. It's definitely clear to see. I'm hoping that Cogs end up taking, huge throw there, with those, take advantage of those short tactical passes right now. Those long ones aren't seeming to work in their favour.
Absolutely. So the big pull goes up. Now, when we mentioned windy conditions, we've got a very, very strong crosswind coming from the bottom of your screen towards the top. That pull by Cog went up high enough, and it's something important to recognise that the higher above ground level you are, the more affected you are by the wind conditions. So that pull going as high as it did meant the wind was able to carry it nearly all the way to the pavilion. Great grab there by Valley Cats number 24. Tom Curtis in that centre field space. Doing great work, moving that disc up the field. Ryan Sheridan gets vertical and then gets horizontal. Ryan Sheridan not pressured at all on the reset. Cog player just a little bit late. It's Josh Cooper trying to chase him down. That is one of the terrifying things to be on defense against a team like Valley Cats. They've got a huge amount of offensive pressure collected in their handler space. Players like Ryan Sheridan, Jack Doyle, who do a lot of great work. A big shot goes up. Kept in bounds. Great score there by Vessels for the Valley Cats as they take the first point out of the second half, going 9-0 against Cog. Some great work there. But it is one of those terrifying things when you're trying to apply defensive pressure to players that you know you have to seal out in order to really arrest the momentum of your opposition's offense. That's what we're seeing here. Just a great lefty backhand into the back corner. Kept up despite a great bid by Goldby. All the momentum currently in favour of Valley Cats, but the pendulum of ultimate swings both ways. All we need is a little bit of an upset for the Cog side to really find their fire, to get their engines revving. Everyone has a threshold beyond which they will not take it anymore, and the question is Cog going to find that threshold before Valley Cats put 15 points up against them? So 34 minutes into the game. Valley Cats to come back down on defense. Great pull. But again, showing a little bit much of that bottom of the disc to the wind. Gets carried out of bounds. We're seeing players have to climb the fence to go and find the disc. It's almost got a bit of a backyard cricket field to it.
I think it is good to note, though, that the wind is starting to die down slowly. So hopefully by this afternoon it isn't going to be as much as a problem as it has been this morning. Of course, not a problem for the Valley Cats anyway.
Cog to initiate against the Valley Cat zone. Great threaded pass, but that is what a zone is built to do. Tyler T-Top Smith with a layout D, peeling off that wing space on the far sideline to generate that turn. Great coverage, way to clean that up. Number 77 for the Valley Cats, Robert Irwin goes vertical, keeping it in possession. T-Top Smith now just cycling the disc, back around, big bid from the defense to nothing. T-Top Smith on the doorstep, ready to close out, the kind of handler skills necessary to do it. Targeting the far sideline, going with the wind. A lot of pressure on there from the Cog defense, but not quite enough. A comfortable run-on score. Nick Bealby taking it down as Valley Cats go up 10 over Cog 0. We're going to see that again. Some really great handler movement, not enough pressure on that defense. That is beautiful ultimate. It's hard to beat ultimate on a good day. It is even harder to beat good ultimate on a good day. Just some really nicely strung together passes there for the Valley Cats to close out their offensive point, putting them in a great position to walk away to glory. Still anybody's game. We have a little less than an hour left in the match. We've seen deficits wider than this be fought back tooth and nail by a hungry team who doesn't get as tired or doesn't let that tiredness affect them. They find a way to ignore the fatigue, recognizing that yes, there are 2 more days of the tournament, but each game has to be fought as hard as possible to get all the way to Sunday afternoon.
I think it's also great to see that Cog are keeping high spirits as well. That's the whole joy of Ultimate Frisbee, the sportsmanship.
Absolutely. So one of the defining characteristics of Ultimate is our adherence to the spirit of the game. So there are 5 criteria that we try and live by when on the field and on the sideline. Our rules, knowledge and use, how we apply them, our respect for the rules, avoidance of fouls and body contact, respecting each other, respecting other players, a sense of fair-mindedness, a positive attitude and self-control, and our willingness to communicate not only with each other, but with our opposition, resolving calls when they arise. And a huge part of that is that positive attitude and self-control. So still seeing those smiles, even though Cog may be a few points down more than they would like. That ability to recognize that it's a Friday morning and we're out here playing the greatest sport in the world. What do we have to be so sad about when it's an opportunity denied to so many other countries at the moment because of the coronavirus pandemic? Great cut there into space, but not utilized as a reset. Finds the disc anyway. Working up that near sideline. Cooper sends a big one. A lot of float underneath it. Could this be Cog's first point of the game? It is! Fantastic work by Cog. Clearly Cog are not hungry. The Valley Cats offer them up a bagel. And Cog say, no thanks, we don't need it. No eggs, no bagels. A great put there by Cooper. We're going to see it again one more time. Recognizing that the wind's going to help put a floaty disc up. Very close coverage, but no cigar. Cog pulling that one down. A great, fantastic score. McIntosh by the looks, putting a point on the board for Cog. The first of hopefully many to give us a tight game.
Got the signal from Valley Cats. Just waiting on Cog now.
50 minutes left in the second match of our Day 1 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships Valley Cats against COG. Valley Cats giving the signal. Coming down on offense for one of the few times in this game. Opts not to catch the pull, maybe a little bit sketchy. Failure to catch the pull generating an instant turnover, which just goes to point out that great defense starts with a pull. Ryan Sheridan sends the big shot. Huge pressure from the defense and the disc is bobbled, but a call was made. Looks to be a foul. We'll see again, Ryan Sheridan rips one. And as we close down, Tom Curtis unable to keep that one because of that impact there. So as the resolution of that uncontested foul, he'll bring the disc in just on the sideline, only a few meters out from the end zone. And now the disc has been checked in. Players are free to move after that foul call. Now, will this be a clean offensive point, or the end zone fever force a turn? No, they will not. Ryan Sheridan with a score.
Putting Valley Cats up to 11. COG still at 1.
Great, only a few passes. Jack Doyle threads one through. Sheridan for a clean grab. Comfortable separation from his defender. Great offensive footwork there from that man. Valley Cats looking hungry for the final. Already putting on a great show, some fantastic ultimate today. Wind's starting to pick up a little bit more, bringing with it a bit of a chill. Cold hands make for loud catches. Hopefully the players aren't noticing it closer down to the ground. Valley Cats with a long pull, relatively low, flat. Fielded well by COG. Some quick initiation movement there. Great passes there, 2 or 3 meters at a time, but string enough of those together and you can make a lot of progress up the field. Valley Cats, the zone slightly out of position, but offense not able to capitalize. Cooper, far sideline, recenters. Great turn there. Just again, forcing to play into the wind. The disc pops up a little bit, just beyond the reach of the intended receiver. But again, fortune is a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways, and so COG now an opportunity just in front of the halfway mark to put a second point on the game, on the board for them rather. Sends a big one up, a lot of edge, comes underneath. Jack Doyle again, that defensive pressure, that monster getting big, getting up.
There is some nice pressure coming in from COG.
A great layout attempt, a little bit late. As the disc fades in, great length on it, great positioning. We'll see that again. Just a really good backhand. And just out.
Maybe some miscommunication there.
Valley Cats wanting to finish it up. Doyle. Great Great fake there, causing Cooper to overcommit, but it doesn't open anything up downfield, so they're not able to capitalize. Beautiful run through D there by Cog. Those are the moments that turn a game around. Just those few seconds, a little bit of position. Great put up. Doyle again parked in that deep space, making his presence known. A gratuitous layout to save a slightly low throw. Doyle lets one rip. Run on, great score, number 32, Mark Beetham. Wonderful receiver, manages to develop that open cut early. Vessels finds Doyle. Rips the massive backhand. You can see the separation from Beetham. Great score there. It must be the hairstyle.
That now brings Valley Cats to an 11-point advantage.
Only 3 points away from victory. Around about 40 or so minutes left in the game before we hit soft cap. The door is slowly closing on Cog, but in Ultimate Frisbee, nothing is over until the final point is scored. Once again, Fernando is the coach on the Credo line. Trying to give some last-minute advice, some last-minute wisdom from his extensive playing career. Again, evidencing the wind now, as Valley able to string together a chain of Max. Just showing how much that wind is moving from your near sideline to the far sideline. Any exposure of the bottom of the disc to that wind is going to have interference on the throw. There's the pull from T-Top Smith, a big wind starting to pick it up. There's a lot of slow fade. Exactly what you're looking for to set up a zone. McFarlane cuts a little bit deep, right beyond the zone. Unable to get that reset, having to go back and around. But again, 3 players in that cup. Cog trying to do their best to work around it, making that zone run, trying to tire them out, just working backwards and forwards. The moment that that zone, the cup breaks from fatigue, that's the moment that the offense stops playing 7v7 and starts playing 7v4. Gives you a nice offensive advantage to work through that cup, but the cup does its job. The disc goes to turf. It's an opportunity here, right on the doorstep. Merely inches away from another point. Force of reset, but the block comes through. Cog, excellent defensive read there. But the pressure seems a bit much. The turn goes the other way. Bearcats trying to open something up to chip away at the Cog defense. Great shot. Nearly touching the grass as it left his hand. The wind picking it up just enough. An absolutely beautiful throw into space for Valley Cats to take their 13th point of the game. See that now. That's the one. Gets a little bit of lip on it. For Vincent McQueen, a great score there. 13-1, 12 points ahead over Cog. Valley Cats looking to put the nails in the coffin. But still, 40 minutes left in the game. Anybody's game, although looking increasingly more like the Valley Cats game, putting on a fantastic performance, some really high quality ultimate here. Like they always say in Ultimate, there are 3 lines that win games. There's your O-line, your D-line, and your sideline. And as we see Valley Cats come down in that zone defense, it's the sideline that really makes a huge difference. Having communication in your ear, giving you instruction, giving you information, telling you where players are coming from, really tightens up the field. Match defense, when you're marking an individual, you're trying to isolate that matchup, trying to maybe beat them in an athletic sense. Know that you can jump higher than them. That's great. That's 1 versus 1, but zone defense really is the full team all working together, not just the 7 players on the field, but everyone on the roster working together to try and generate those turnovers. Cog slowly working up to get out of their zone. Pressure from the Valley Cats. Sends the shot. Once again, that zone defense doing exactly what it is supposed to do. Robert Irwin in that deep space, generating those turns. Valley Cats fire back the other way. A beautiful one into the zone. Aiden Brown comes down with it. 14-1, only a single point away from victory. We're going to see that again. What a clean forehand in these conditions. Sorry, Nick Bealby, rather. Nick Bealby going up, bringing it down with one hand. The Valley Cats 1 point away from victory. This could be the last point of the game. Valley Cats 1 point away from victory. Cog 1 hold, 13 breaks needed. Valley Cats with the pull as the wind picks up. Cog rather, to bring the disc in from the brick mark. Valley Cats establishing a zone. We're seeing some players getting ready to mark out the disc. Other players looking to cut off those cuts coming into the space. Valley Cats may be aware that Cog don't have the same consistency of throws in that long space. That it's those undercuts, those cuts from the deep space towards the disc that are going to be the Cog bread and butter. And almost in response to our commentary, Cog managed to thread a long shot up the zone, working through it, find the defense out of position. And it's just those second cuts, those cuts away from those initial movements that seem to be slowing them down a little bit. Trying to maintain that offensive momentum out in front of the disc. Throws a hammer for a score. Who throws a hammer in this wind? I suppose when you're 13 points down, you might as well bring out everything in the box. And sometimes when you open the toolbox, the first thing you find is the hammer. A great overhead shot. Questionable option, but flawless execution. Cog putting another point on the board, 14-2.
They just weren't satisfied with one. They needed another.
Who's mad at that? Certainly not me.
There was
Well,
determination.
Absolutely. Focus, determination, vision, and the ability to throw an overhead. I bet Coach Fernando's going to have words with him after the game, though. What a great score. I think it might have been a case of just wanting a cheeky highlight for himself before the game finishes. And who can blame you when the hammer comes out just that cleanly for an open receiver?
And I mean, it worked. So.
Absolutely. We've not really seen a lot of overheads thus far. I think that's one of the perils of playing Ultimate when there's a lot of wind. You don't see the same depth of throws from very talented handlers. They have to play a lot more conservatively to play around the wind. So we maybe don't get as many of those great highlight plays, but Cog certainly not disappointing, putting the pull-up with a nice amount of roll on it. Great work there as Valley Cats aren't able to stop that roll initially, but Ryan Sheridan in that handler space still a threat. He's got the wind at his back. Great bid by Cog, but it's not quite enough. No, there is the second by Cooper. And that's how we finish the game. Foster putting up a laser beam straight through. We're gonna get to see that again. That's perfect offense there from the Valley Cats. Target the high side, the near sideline. Will Foster finds an open receiver who runs on for it. Scott Sider finishes off the game 15-2 over Cog.
High spirits still on the field, though.
Absolutely. Teams offering each other congratulatory or commiseratory high fives as we finish the second game of the first day of the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. A fantastic performance by Valley Cats, a hard-fought game by Credo Open Green or Cog. My name is Blair Monroe.
My name is Brooke McAlavey.
And we will be back with you next up at 2:30 p.m. sometime later on in the afternoon for the next game of this, the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships at beautiful Ngā Puna Wai Sports Hub in wintry, windy, yet sunny Christchurch. Thank you.